Welcome to Monday. How are we all doing today? Lots of stuff going on. Actually, we're packing up and getting ready to head home, which is pretty awesome after a 3-day event, which I will catch you up all on in another meeting or another video. Actually, I think I'm going to create a presentation for what I just saw, so I think I'm going to do that on the airplane. So look for that probably later today. I want to make sure I record something for you. But a lot of stuff going on. It's Monday. The markets are open and thought I'd share with you what I see today. So first off, I saw a note from Goldman Sachs, one of the big boys on Wall Street. Probably the name with the greatest shine on it, and rightly so. They've done some pretty impressive things as Wall Street goes. But they actually came out today and said, we do not see a recession, coming. And they went as far as saying they see the S&P 500 at 3,100 for the year, right? So ending on December 31st. And I want to hear from you. What do you think about their call? Let's set the over/under at 3,100 for the S&P, and simply say in comments below, do you predict it to be over or under 3,100, right? Very little chance it actually hits 3,100 on the nose. So let's just go over under. And I'm going to take the under. I think there's too many things kind of bubbling up on the surface, which I'll share many of them here. But I also know, and we're likely share there, all of these things that are going on could disappear overnight, and this thing could just keep on running for another 5 to 10 years. So let's get into that. But remember, think about it. Goldman says 3,100 on December 31st, 2019. What do you got? You got the over or the under? Leave a comment below. Let's see how we do. Let's have some fun. Next up, I actually saw this article last night, and I thought it was interesting. It talked about the millennials being, as a group, saving more than other generations have had. And first off, I applaud them. Right, you got to remember where a lot of these millennials came of age, right, became an adult, and yeah, Allison, I agree. There's definitely a recession coming, but let's have some fun. So if you're going to take the under, take the under. And what I thought I would do there is, go back to the millennials. So the millennials are talking about they're saving too much. They're saving 3 or 4 points more than past generations at the same age. And really where this article was going, it was actually blaming the millennials for the manufacturing slowdown. Basically, they're saving, they're not spending like good Americans, right, where we spend everything we make, and they're the problem. I don't even know what to do with an article like that, right? On one hand, we're criticizing them for buying all these wonky technology toys, and and then we say they're the reason for the manufacturing collapse. Come on, that's not fair. But in the end, I applaud them. Right, they came of age when the Great Recession was in there. They came out many with student debt. When I was reading that article, I was thinking, what did that generation do during the Depression? Right? My grandparents had passed before I was of age to really talk to them about it. But I remember vividly a couple of times my grandmother saving aluminum foil after making a dinner or something. So that was that stuck with me as a young boy. I didn't really get it because my mom never did that, but my grandmother did, and she did great care to clean it and fold it and put it away in a specific drawer. So yeah, I think the millennials, I think they've earned the right to save. They saw the Great Recession. They saw not getting jobs. They saw great stress likely in their families. Many of them maybe saw their parents or someone close to them lose a home. So heck yeah, you should save more. What are you thinking, right? So I didn't think that was very fair. Another thing I saw just goes to point at this China, Hong Kong, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, protests going on is not going away. I actually saw some news articles on it yesterday, and it's much worse than I had because it didn't hit my radar, right? My daily scan of business news is I guess, very American centric, so I should expand that for sure. But it's not going away, it's getting worse. And to that point, a single tweet from a general manager of an NBA team in support of the protests caused China to ban communications with that entire team, uh, just because they didn't appreciate the gesture, if you will. So it's not going away. I unfortunately think that's going to have an explosive ending. Some of the footage I have seen in the last 24 to 48 hours just shows how entrenched the protesters are. And my guess is eventually that provokes China to have a stronger opinion. So we need to watch that. I think that gets worse before it gets better. But again, it could be over tomorrow and everybody loves each other again and all of that. It doesn't feel like it's going in a good position, and it seems to be getting worse. And the economy has got to be taking a hit. That was the financial hub of Asia, and once they let that go, it's not good. Next up is General Motors and UAW. It's now into day 22 of the strike. As I said early on when this started, you can go back and watch the videos. I thought UAW had all the power, right? Really, like the first 3 to 5, 6 days, because GM's losing $50 to $100 million in production a day. But eventually, what happens is, people are people. People live paycheck to paycheck. The strike pay of $250 a week is probably not enough for most of them to pay their bills, and the pressure starts to build inside UAW. And an article came out late yesterday from UAW saying that the last offer from GM was not good. Things have turned around. They're negative, and whatnot. I think that this is the first time I saw anything but positive news about the strike. Right? They've kept it behind closed doors, probably on purpose. But now they're trying to negotiate in the press. They're trying to get support from others. So we'll see. But it really boils down to, benefits. The fight is really around wages and pays today, benefits for tomorrow. And it really looks like GM wants to shut 4 plants in the U.S., in Ohio and Michigan. And obviously, UAW doesn't want to have any of that. So really what I think this is boiling down to is future commitment, right? UAW, protecting their constituents, wants to have commitment from GM that these plants won't be idle and they won't be shut down. And they want to know which cars they will be building in the future. I really think that's what it boils down to. On a real estate front, this just hit me this morning. There's a lot of people that watch this channel, many of them from out of state, that I have chosen to invest in Michigan and Detroit. Now, granted, a lot of this is Cleveland and Detroit, so maybe not the manufacturing hubs. But I bet there's, what got me this morning is I'm wondering if there's any real estate investors who got into, Cleveland or got into Ohio and Michigan because, they believed, the returns in the spreadsheets, not realizing that they were dependent on the manufacturing. Basically, if the plant disappears, the tenants don't have wages. So this hit me this morning, right? Real estate investors who go into towns with single big employers, it can get dicey when that single employer leaves. So I was just wondering. I haven't looked up where these plants are other than the states. So maybe there's lots of employers around them. I'm not sure, but real estate investors going out of state, you got to be very careful. I recommend against single employer towns. We should have plenty of history of single employee towns over time going bust, and real estate going from being a stable investment to slums really quickly. So be careful. Going on to that, I saw GE froze pensions for 20,000 employees. They're going to do one-time lump sum payments to employees who haven't started taking pensions, and all of this to lower debt, right, between $5 and $8 billion. So Yeah, Allison, definitely recommend visit where you invest first. Please don't buy off of Google Street View. That's crazy. But again, GE is making some big strides. I wonder how much of this has to go back to that article we had a president or we I talked about it probably 3 weeks ago, where some analyst came out and basically said GE is a fraud or a whatever, a Ponzi scheme, I think they called it. Um, so again, they're making some big strides, making hard decisions. They took their dividend down to a penny, so they're cutting everywhere they can. And then lastly, this is a big week for the trade war. The talks begin again, if you will. Uh, where I'm left sitting here very early Monday morning is who needs the win more, right? Sometimes these negotiation comes down to who needs a win. I would argue that the U.S. needs a win, right? The executive branch for sure needs a win, needs some good news to come through. I'm not sure China does, right? So in the negotiations, if you come in needing a win, you might accept less than you would before. Again, I don't know that this is going to happen. I'm just sitting here pontificating what might be going on, but I don't think China does. And if that's the stance, you could see China, standing up and taking a pound of flesh, if you will. So in the end, a lot of stuff going on this Monday morning. I hope you're having a great day. Remember, what's your over-under? GM is called 3,100 by December 31st. I want to hear what you got. You got the under or the over? All right, everybody, take care. We'll talk to you tomorrow.